The United States Department of Justice launched an investigation into the dissemination of alleged Pentagon documents that were published on various social networks. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko expressed his wish for Russia to defend Belarus as its own territory during his meeting with Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu. 4 people were killed and 15 injured in a bombing targeting a police vehicle in a marketplace in the southwestern Pakistani city of Quetta. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The United States Department of Justice launched an investigation into the dissemination of alleged Pentagon documents that were published on various social media. The released documents appear to detail the aid that the North American nation and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization provide to Ukraine. The documents disseminated on platforms such as Twitter and Telegram were labeled secret and resemble routine updates that the U.S. Army Joint Chiefs of Staff would produce daily but not distribute publicly. U.S. officials are currently scrambling to identify the leaked source, with some experts saying it could be a U.S. citizen. This has been considered one of the most serious security breaches affecting the country since the WikiLeaks disclosure, and authorities on the case have said the investigation is still in its early stages. 2 U.S. officials stated on Sunday that they have not ruled out that the documents may have been doctored to mislead investigators as to their origin. On Monday in the United States, 5 people were killed and at least 6 others have been hospitalized following a shooting that took place in downtown Louisville in the state of Kentucky. A Louisville police spokesman told during a news conference that a police officer was among the wounded, while the department tweeted separately that the alleged shooter was confirmed to be dead. In this regard, the spokesman also told reporters there is no active danger to the public at this time. In 2023, there have already been at least 146 mass shootings in the U.S., while 9,998 deaths related to gun violence have been recorded. The United States is the only country in the world where there are more civilian guns than there are people, according to the Swiss research project Small Arms Survey. The Deputy Chief of the Louisville Metro Police Department, Paul Humphrey, reported on their knowledge so far on this recent case.
The shooter was confirmed to be dead on the scene. We do not know exactly the circumstances of his death at this time. 5 people have been confirmed to have been killed inside. At least 6 were transported to University of Louisville Hospital, including 1 officer with various injuries. We are unable to confirm the status of those who have been transported at this time.
On Monday, the government of President Luis Ignacio da Silva completes 100 days of his 3rd term in charge, with social equality at the forefront and center of his administration. In these first 3 months of government, Lula re-established the criteria for tackling poverty and initiated payments of $118 a program to help underprivileged families that originated in 2003. This plan aims to break the generational cycle of poverty in the short and long term through conditional transfers of income, education, and health. Also during the period, Lula signed the provisional measure of a program to deliver housing to needed segments that rematerializes his 2009 program to reduce the housing deficit in the country. And Lula also presented in these 100 days the program More Health for Brazil, formerly Mais Médicos or More Doctors, which foresees the initial opening of 15,000 new vacancies for professionals in the sector. In this context, the Brazilian president will embark on Tuesday on a trip to China, Brazil's largest trading partner, for a series of diplomatic engagements. He will have an extensive agenda starting Wednesday, including a meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping to discuss new investments in Brazil. Lula seeks to repair ties between the 2 countries weakened during the government of former President Jair Bolsonaro. The state visit will last 4 days, as the return of the Brazilian delegation is scheduled for April 15th. The president's trip was originally scheduled to take place on March 24th, but Lula postponed the agenda due to a diagnosis of pneumonia. The Brazilian government announced on Monday it has scheduled a meeting for early August in Belém, state of Pará, to reactivate the Amazon Cooperation Treaty Organization, which brings together the countries that make up the Amazon. The meeting will help define a single position for the region on development and combating the climate crisis in international forums. President Lula da Silva intends to use the position agreed upon at the meeting to define the line of his speech at the opening of the United Nations General Assembly in September. The resumption of the Amazon Cooperation Treaty Organization is one of Lula's objectives for his third term in office, as it can serve to unify the discourse of the Amazon countries and attract investments to the region to help with the fight against deforestation, the protection of indigenous peoples, and local development. In Ecuador, the death toll from a landslide occurred March the 26th in Alausi has jumped to 35. On Sunday, Army rescue teams still on site recovered the bodies of 2 women. According to authorities, 50 other people are still presumed to be buried under tons of mud and rubble, so the number of fatalities is expected to increase. Official data indicates that March 26 landslide left more than 1,000 victims, 163 houses affected, and 55 others completely destroyed. And in this context, Ecuadorian authorities have issued an orange alert for 5 sectors of the Hyugara parish, an area of over 150 hectares in the Alausi canton, due to imminent danger for population and infrastructure of further landslides. The decision was prompted by continuing occurrence of cracks, settling of mud, and the increased speed of the March 26 event, which is still active. The alert allows the mobilization of technical teams and work brigades to implement immediate actions to protect civilian population. On Sunday, the government, the Red Cross, the Fire Department, the Armed Forces, and the National Police evacuated 2,400 people of the Huigüey parish. Authorities have also closed the Hyugara-Alausi road as a preventive measure. 2 tornadoes struck New Zealand on Sunday night and on Monday morning. At least 50 houses were damaged by a tornado that ripped through the northern tip of New Zealand's southernmost island on Monday. Previously on Sunday night, another tornado had hit the suburbs of East Auckland, causing roof damage and downing trees. So far, authorities have not reported any fatalities nor any people injured. Tornadoes are a rare occurrence in New Zealand, with an average of 1 per year. However, meteorologists say that there are many occurring in remote rural areas that go unreported. Let's take a short break now, but first remember you can follow us on TikTok at teleSUR English, in which you will be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back from the south. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko expressed his wish for Russia to defend Belarus as its own territory during his meeting with Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu. During the meeting, the president stated that the Western countries do not abide by the security guarantees offered in the Budapest memorandum to 3 former Soviet countries, Kazakhstan, Ukraine, and Belarus, in exchange for getting rid of their nuclear arsenals in 1994. In this way, Lukashenko conveyed this concern to President Putin, who supported him and advocated the revision of bilateral treaties and agreements, as well as the search for an interstate legal framework to ensure the security of Belarus.
In talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin on union state between Russia and Belarus, it was said that in case of an aggression against Belarus, the Russian Federation would defend Belarus like its own territory. These are the security guarantees.
For his part, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu thanked the Defense Minister of Belarus and its President Alexander Lukashenko for the cooperation received.
Special thank you to your Defense Ministry, to you personally. We've been offered 5 training grounds on the territory of Belarus. They have equipment. Moreover, a sufficient amount of instructors and officers have been assigned by the Belarusian armed forces, including for training our newcomers.
On Monday in the UK, people protested in the city of Londonderry in Northern Ireland on the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement as US President Joe Biden prepares to fly in. The police called for calm after their officers reported an attack against agents in the Cregan area of Northern Ireland's second largest city. The event comes ahead of President Biden's arrival in Northern Ireland on April 11th as part of celebrations to commemorate the peace deal signed in April 1998. Last month, the terror threat level in Northern Ireland was raised as a consequence of the political crisis that continues in Northern Ireland. The Democratic Unionist Party refusing to re-share power at Stormont as part of its protest against post-Brexit trade deals. Northern Ireland Secretary Chris Hayden-Harris has warned of the fragility of the peace in Northern Ireland in the framework of Joe Biden's visit. French rescue services have found a sixth body found in an avalanche southwest of Mont Blanc in the French Alps and have now called off their search, as local authorities said on Monday. The avalanche occurred in the middle of the day on Sunday on the Armanset Glacier, which is near the village and ski resort of Les Contamines-Maintien. According to Emmanuel Colcan, a spokesperson for the authorities in the Haute-Savoie region, the rescue team ended their search because they know of no other missing persons. Local media said 2 of the victims were mountain guides and the other 4 were their clients, all French, including a young woman and a man in their 20s and a couple in their 40s. Thousands of novice monks took part in a mass ordination ceremony at the Wat Phra Damphaya temple in Bangkok. Over 5,000 young Buddhist monks prayed outside the temple during the event, dressed in white robes and carrying orange pillows. The ceremony began with a ritual which sees novice monks from all over the country circling the temple in long orderly lines to be ordained by Buddha. The monks were also seen meditating inside the massive temple, which is located 16 kilometers north of Bangkok. In Buddhist culture, ordination ceremonies are held to welcome young men and women as full members of the monastic order. On Monday, Japan's new central bank chief Kazuo Ueda announced that no major rate hikes were on the horizon and that a long-standing loose monetary policy remained appropriate. On Sunday, Kazuo Ueda replaced Haruhiko Kuroda, the bank's longest-serving governor and the architect of a monetary policy aimed at boosting the world's third-largest economy. Ueda takes the reins of Japan's central bank under pressure to join his international counterparts who have raised rates to tackle inflation. However, he has made it clear that there will be no immediate change to the bank's current approach. Prices in the country have risen by as much as 4% in recent months, although in February inflation showed a minor decrease as prices were up only 3.1% on a year-on-year comparison. In this regard, the bank has stated the current price rises are largely transitory and the result of temporary factors such as Ukrainian crisis and the energy price increases. teleSUR English continues to grow. You can now tune in from 33 different African countries through StarSat, dial 461, and enjoy a Latin American alternative broadcast. One final short break and we'll be right back. Don't go away. Welcome back from the south. On Monday, 4 people were killed and 15 injured in a bombing targeting a police vehicle in a marketplace in the southwestern Pakistani city of Quetta. Separatist group of Balochistan Liberation Army claimed responsibility for the blast, which was the second attack in less than 24 hours on police in Quetta, located in the southwestern province of Balochistan. In a statement, the group also said 4 people were killed, including 2 policemen. Senior police official Shafkat Shima stated the target was the vehicle of the acting superintendent of police investigations, which was parked in Kandahari Bazaar. He said initial reports showed an improvised device containing 4 to 5 kilograms of explosive was planted in a motorcycle parked behind the vehicle and detonated remotely. Before Monday's attack, armed men on Sunday targeted personnel of the police Eagle Squad in Quetta, killing 2 police officers and injuring another. The Palestinian resistance movement Hamas warned of a tough response if Israel does not halt its crimes. In this regard, the Palestinian National Authority denounced the relentless attacks of Tel Aviv occupation forces against Palestinian holy sites. They expressed that the resistance will continue to defend the Palestinian identity and lands at all costs. In this way, condemnation against the Israeli regime continued after the assault on the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the forcible eviction of dozens of Palestinian worshippers in the middle of Ramadan. Finally, Hamas reiterated that the liberation of occupied Jerusalem is the key focus of the resistance and emphasized it will defend the Palestinian nation against the attacks of the occupation forces. Several hundred Iraqi Kurds protested against repeated Turkish military bombardments of their region 2 days after an attack near the Sulaymaniyah airport. Around 400 protesters walked in the center of Sulaymaniyah, the second city in Iraq's autonomous Kurdistan region. They waved the flag of Iraqi Kurdistan and held a banner denouncing the airport bombardment as a terrorist act. The protest came after Iraqi President Abdel Latif Rashid on Saturday condemned the bombardment in the Kurdistan region and accused Turkey's military for these operations. The attack on Friday caused an explosion near the airport wall while the commander of the Syrian Democratic Forces was present. Worshippers in Tehran kept vigil and prayed late at night to mark the Night of Qadr, also referred to as the Night of Power or Laylat-ul-Qadr. The vigil falls within the final 10 days of the month of Ramadan. Muslims believe this was the night God sent the angel Gabriel to the Prophet to reveal the first verses of the Quran. Shiite Muslims keep vigil at nights preceding the 19th, 21st, and 23rd days of Ramadan as God nights to pray and recite the Quran. Worshippers were also provided with free meals and tea as suhoor, the meal before dawn ahead of a day of fasting. Ramadan culminates in Laylat al-Qadr, or the Night of Destiny, during the last 10 nights of the month, when Muslims engage in intense late-night worship.
My wish is that people get the life they deserve. I see people in need. I feel pity for them. I wish everyone gets a certain level of well-being and lead a peaceful life.
In Yemen, after holding a meeting with delegations from Oman and Saudi Arabia, the Supreme Political Council has restated its firm stance and aspirations to peace and independence. At a meeting, the head of the Yemeni Supreme Council, Mahmoud al-Mashad, expressed gratitude on behalf of the Yemeni people for the mediation efforts of the Sultanate of Oman for its positive role in bringing points of view closer. Houthi sources close to the negotiations say that the talks focus on lifting the blockade on the Hodeidah port and Sana'a airport. Meanwhile, there was no immediate comment from Saudi Arabia on the trip, the second organized so far this year. The talks in Sana'a, primarily aimed at reaching a ceasefire, are part of international efforts led by Oman to resolve the conflict in Yemen, which began in 2014. We have come to the end of this news brief from you. You can find these and many other stories on our website, telesurenglish.net. Also join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.